News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
New Jersey Transit and its locomotive engineers have reached a new contract agreement. Let's get the very latest with Bloomberg's John Tucker. Strike's over, John.
Looks that way. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy announced the agreement on the new contract.
There's a real feeling that we landed in a really good place. You could argue we thought that before. I understand that. But this time it really does feel that way.
And Nathan, it's going to take an entire day, though, to get the system up and running, so the train service will resume tomorrow. Now, commuters are being urged to work from home one more day. NJ Transit estimates it carries about 350,000 rail passengers a day, including 70,000 who ride it into New York City. The pack ends the first railroad strike for the transit system in more than 40 years. Now, wage negotiations had been at the center of the dispute. The union said it wanted parity with engineers working at other major U.S. railroads. This tentative agreement must still be ratified by members of the union and approved by members of the NJ Transit Board of Directors. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
Good, John. Thank you. Let's turn to the markets now. Stocks are falling, Treasuries sliding following Moody's decision to strip the U.S. government of its top credit rating. The agency cut U.S. credit one level to AA1 from AAA. Did it back on Friday. Moody's cited the failure by successive administrations to deal with rising U.S. debt and deficits. This morning, the yield for 30-year Treasuries is above 5%. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, though, is downplaying concerns over the Moody's downgrade.
I think that Moody's is a lagging indicator. I think that's what everyone thinks of credit agencies. Larry Summers and I don't agree on everything, but he said that when they downgraded the U.S. in 2011. So it's a lagging indicator.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent spoke on NBC's Meet the Press, which can be heard every Sunday right here on Bloomberg Radio.
Meanwhile, Nathan, on Capitol Hill, President Trump's giant tax and spending cut bill has made it through the House Budget Committee after a late-night vote. Several Republicans who held out against the legislation last week voted present last night after winning an agreement to speed up cuts to Medicaid. Pennsylvania Congressman Lloyd Smucker was one of those holdouts, and now he says he fully supports the bill.
This is a bill that will deliver the mandate that the American people have given the president and given Congress in November.
But South Carolina Republican Ralph Norman says he wants to see even deeper spending cuts.
We've been downgraded 3 times. We have problems with the money in this country, the debt.
And the bill faces even more hurdles before it heads to the full House. Republicans from high-tax states are pushing for a higher limit on the state and local tax deduction, and the Medicaid cuts could face opposition from moderate Republicans.
Karen, President Trump and many world leaders are expressing support for former President Joe Biden. He's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. The 82-year-old Democrat is reviewing treatment options with his doctors. Speaking to ABC News, Dr. Stephanie Widmer said more needs to be known about the former president's condition to understand what treatments are available.
Prostate cancer in general is a treatable form of cancer, even if it cannot be cured. And a lot of people, even elderly people, can live with it for a long period of time.
Again, that was Dr. Stephanie Widmer speaking with ABC News. President Trump posted on Truth Social that he and the First Lady wish the former president a fast and successful recovery.
Nathan, now we want to get to the latest on efforts to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump is set to hold a phone call this morning with Russia's Vladimir Putin. That's after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy met with Vice President J.D. Vance at the Vatican yesterday. It was all smiles after their infamous Oval Office blow-up back in February. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says President Trump is prepared to back new sanctions on Russia if today's talks don't go well.
Going back 6 or 7 weeks, we've been communicating to the Russian side that this effort was being undertaken, that we anticipated that when all was said and done, it would have close to 80 co-sponsors in the Senate, and I imagine a comparable percentage of support in the House, and that was an effort we couldn't stop and don't control.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke on CBS's Face the Nation, heard Sundays on Bloomberg Radio, but sources tell Bloomberg News Putin feels he has a strong hand heading into today's talks. They say Putin is confident his forces can break through Ukraine's defenses in 4 regions he's claimed for Russia by the end of the year and is unlikely to offer any meaningful concessions. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.